What's up, Geeksters? It's me, Omar from Geekster Labs, and today I have a product that was sent to me free for review from GVM, or Great Video Maker, and this is their 3 RGB LED light kit. And so this is a really cool product. It retails for a little over $300, and I'll have links down below if you're interested in purchasing this product, like off of Amazon. But basically, this is not your standard light kit, because like it says, it's RGB, so it actually can use it to project color into your settings, whether you're doing filming or photography, like I'm doing right now in my background. And the really cool thing is it actually can be controlled all through your device through a smartphone app, which is really nice. So I'm gonna give you guys a walkthrough and give you an unboxing of all the things that are included with this kit. Then I'll show you guys the build quality and talk about the different settings and switches and things that are the controller on the actual back of the lights themselves. And then I'll give you a tour of the app and show you how that works. So without further ado, let's get to the review. Okay, so here's the hard case that's included with this kit, and it has compartments on both sides of it. So when you open up one side, we have the section that holds 2 of the lights, and as you can see, they come in these nice little velvet bags. You may not necessarily want to keep those bags there. You may not, because you may not actually end up using them very often, but I think it's a very nice touch. It keeps them protected and from getting damaged. So that's on one side of the case. And you zip that up, and you can flip it over, and on the back side we have the next compartment, which houses the 3 light stands, which also include these nice velvet bags. And these are actually real nice sturdy light stands. They're not cheapy, lightweight or anything. I mean, they feel pretty solid and sturdy. And so when you take those out of the way, there's like a flap here that is covering the 3rd light, which also includes its velvet pouch right there. And then next to that, we have the box that includes the AC adapters. So obviously this is what you'll use for continuous power with the 3 lights. So it's really nice that all of these things are included, and it has this nice hard carrying case, so this will be really handy to have to be able to transport and travel with these lights. Okay, so now let's take a look at the build quality of the 680RS lights here. So on the back of it, basically most of this is made of aluminum. So this is aluminum, this is aluminum, this is metal. This doesn't feel like aluminum, this actually feels like steel on the back right here. We have the adjustment knobs and everything to change up the angles whenever you need to. We do have 2 different ways you can mount it. So on the bottom, we have the vertical mount, so you can mount it straight up and down like this if you want the pull to go through there, or if it's on a softbox or something like that, you need to mount it from behind, you can mount it at a 90-degree angle, which is pretty nice that it has the capability to do both of those angles. When we get to the front of the light, we have barn doors. These are plastic barn doors. These are not aluminum. I kind of wanted them to be aluminum, but not a big deal. They still function just fine and perform what they're made to be doing. If you don't want to take them off, though, you can actually take the thumb screws and remove them, and you can take the barn doors off if you want. It does have some built-in diffusion, which is very nice, and you can actually remove it. There's a spot on the side right here where you can slide it out, and actually you can take out the diffuser if you don't want the diffuser in there. If you just want to have it completely showing all the lights or whatever, you can actually slide that out and you don't need to use it. But for the most part, I kind of keep it into there, and it just locks into place. There's a little lock on the edge right there, and that keeps it from popping out by accident. So we'll close this up. The light itself is pretty lightweight. It's not super heavy at all. It's 8x10, so it's a pretty good size if you want for different types of soft boxes and things like that. You shouldn't have any trouble finding ones that'll fit it. We do have the DC power, so that's 15 volts of DC power. But if you want to use the batteries, you can use 7.2 volt batteries. Those are pretty standard camera style batteries that you probably have with the other things that you work with, like sliders and such, monitors or whatever. But the thing to keep in mind though is you do have to have 2 batteries. You cannot just put 1 battery in here. I have camera lights that work. They do have 2 slots, but they still will work off of 1 slot, but that's not how these work. You have to have 2 in here in order for it to power it. But obviously more often than not, you want to use the DC power. But if you're in a situation like shooting remotely or shooting photography or videos, and there's no place to power or plug it into, well then you're going to want to use your batteries. So you can definitely use those in there, and that will allow you to power this with just battery power. So that's pretty much it for as far as the body. The construction of it, they feel very well made. They're not super heavy, they're not super bulky or thick. Obviously they travel very easily in the box that comes with the carrying case. So as far as the lights go, the build quality seems pretty solid, especially for the price point. So now I'm going to give you guys a demonstration and show you the settings and everything when it comes to the controls that you have on the back of this light. So we're going to go into all the different control modes, and then we'll go into the different lighting modes. So when it comes to control modes, we've got 4 different options. We have rotate, we have slave, we have master, and we have app. So rotate is basically normal mode. You can do basic control, whatever you need to control on the back of it. Now when you get to slave and master mode, so basically what you can do is set one of the lights as the master, and the other 2 lights you can set as the slave. And as you notice, there's a channel option button here on the very top. So these are the ones that control the channel settings. So if I want to control all 3 lights at the same time with 1 light system back here, I would make this one the master, those other two lights would be the slave, and I'd make sure the channel matched each other. So this one's on channel 8, so make sure those other lights are on channel 8, and basically whatever I do to this one, it will match those other ones. Obviously, if you want to make them different, you have to control those each separately, so you would just keep each of them on the rotate option and just independently control them and change the options for those. But like I showed you here, there's also the app function. When you hit switch to the app, it turns on the Bluetooth setting on the light itself, and then you connect to the light through the app on the phone, which I'll give you guys a demonstration of in just a second. And you can also control all three of the lights through the app as well, but you can't control them individually. You can only do the slave and master setup. So this is basically, since this is to app, this would be the master. On the other lights, you set those to slave and make sure they're on the same channel. And so as I'm controlling this one with the app, it would be controlling the other two lights as well. So now let's get into the different color modes that we can get into. So we're down here, if we hit, oh, and keep in mind, this button right here always controls the brightness. So as you can see, the light gets a little bit dimmer. So this is always the brightness, this one right here. But this is the one that controls the different light settings. But when you click it, push down into it, it goes into different modes. So right now we're in hue mode. So this is the color mode right here. And so as you can turn the wheel, you can see the color on the background changing. So you get 360 colors to pick from on the color wheel right here. And you can see I go all the way in the complete direction. So that is, and when you're in hue, the hue color mode, that's what affects it. So if you click this down, now we're in saturation mode. Now saturation leaves the hue the way it is, and it leaves the brightness the way it is, but it changes the mix. So if I was to go to keep the brightness at 100, and I want to change the mix from 100% to a little bit lower. It's hard to tell with the blue, because obviously blue and white are not that far off from each other. But if I switch it to, let's see here, if I switch it to a like orange or even a red, it'll be more obvious. So let me see here. So if I go all the way back to red, then you can kind of tell more of a difference. So if I hit the mode there, I'm in saturation. So if I lower the saturation, it goes from red to white. So I'm basically just changing the percentage of how much color is being added into it when you do saturation mode. So that's 100% red right there. So then if I hit it again, now we're in color temperature mode, which goes from 5600 Kelvin to bright white all the way down to 3200 Kelvin. So that's basically the degrees. That's the basic normal video light type of setting right there. And if I hit it again, then we're back into hue mode. So those are the basic three settings: hue, saturation, and color temperature mode. So color temperature is a regular light. Hue is kind of cool, like effects and things you can create for whatever you're using your lighting setup. And then the one more thing we can do, and I'll give you guys a demonstration of all these different modes, is the scene mode. So if you hold this button down for 3 seconds, it changes to the different pre-programmed scene modes. So this one is the lightning scene mode right here. So if you wanted to put this light like on the other side of a window, and you're filming like a scene that's very spooky and eerie, and you want some lightning effects coming in from the outside, this is what you could do. And there's a bunch of different things, and so that you can still adjust different parameters on this. The brightness of it, if you want to be a little bit lower, not so bright, you can still tweak some settings. I'll show you some variation. I'll show you how you can tweak the settings a lot more on the app, so we can show that in the app. But there's actually 8 different light setting or scene modes that you can play around with on this camera here. This light, I keep saying camera, and so that's kind of how that works right there. And those are basically all the different modes when it comes to the camera, to the back of the light right here. And I'll show you how you can basically adjust all the same things in the app also as well. The benefit of using the app though is you can actually save your programmed settings on here. So if you want to get to a setting that you maybe use like in a studio, if there's a certain setup that you want the lights to be on, you can have it saved as a pre-programmed setting on the app. Click it and it'll jump right to it. So let me show you guys what the app looks like. Okay, so now we're in the app. I've already connected to this light right now. Like I mentioned before, you can only control all 3 of them at the same time through the slave master setup. You cannot control the lights individually through the app. So now that I'm in the app, you can see that I am actually adjusting the brightness through the app as well right here. So that's all basically, you can play with the different settings to get them just right. You can change that. So this is color temperature mode. You can switch over to the hue and saturation mode. So you can get to the different saturations or whatever the colors that you want it to be. You can lower the brightness, you can change the saturation all through the app. And here's the scene mode. So with the scenes, here's the 8 different scenes. So this is the party scene mode, and you can affect the brightness. You can lower it down if you don't want it to be so bright. You can change the cycle or the timing of it, like the amount of the strobe between the different colors. So if you want it to be faster, it's fast. If you want it to be real slow, it'll kind of strobe very slowly. It takes 5 seconds between colors to change. And that is the party mode. You can go to paparazzi mode. This is basically like flash photography type of thing. It almost looks similar to the lightning mode, but lightning is more consistent. So this is lightning right here. Once again, you can change the brightness if you want. Then we have a cool candle mode. So if you want to give it like a fire, make it look like fire, like candle, it kind of flickers a little bit. You can once again lower the brightness on that one if you want. Then we have a cool bad bulb mode. So bad bulb would be like almost like an interrogation scene type of thing. If you're filming and people are like in a interrogation room, you have a bulb that's kind of flickering and going out, or maybe like horror style type of thing where there's like that one light that keeps flickering on and off. And this one you can adjust the temperature, the color temperature of the bulb from 3200 Kelvin to 5600 Kelvin, and the brightness. Then we got disco mode. Disco mode is pretty similar to party mode, except it's just like a little bit faster, a little more fast pace. So as you can see, it's almost like it's almost strobing, kind of like a little more crazily. And then we have cop car, which is pretty cool. So if you want to, you could bounce this off like the side of an alleyway or something like that to, if you don't have actual cop cars there and you want to kind of have a higher production value of the scene or whatever, make it seem like there's cop cars sitting there, you can bounce this off of a wall in a scene if you're like in an alleyway or, the cops are coming to pull up. Then you have a TV mode. So this is kind of just like flickers. It almost looks like a television's on, so if you wanted to point this at someone's face and to maybe show their point of reference, like maybe they're watching television but you're filming their face and seeing them look at the television, you can kind of have this light there and it kind of flickers and crackles a little bit with the different images, like it's almost as if they're watching an actual television. And then party mode I already showed you, and paparazzi. So those are the different scenes that you can do, but let me show you here as well. So if you want my scenes, you can actually save the different scenes. You can save it as a current scene, and like I said, if you have a setup or a shot list of different lighting effects that you need to use throughout your movies or videos, or if you're on a stage and you have different setups that you want to have continually, you can save these under Remind Scenes, and next time you open up the app, you can jump to it really quickly. You don't have to mess or waste time trying to find the exact settings you had for those specific scenes. So that's probably the best thing that the app is useful for. But also, if you want to control the lights, you don't want to walk over to it to adjust and fine tune it. We just pull out the phone in your hand and you can play around with it and get the color saturations or the settings just right without having to be behind the light itself, which is pretty nice. If you're like me and you're shooting stuff by yourself, you don't have a crew of people helping you, you don't have to get up out of your spot that you're filming something to just adjust the brightness a little bit. You can do it straight from the app and then keep filming. You don't have to stop what you're doing to go behind the camera or behind the lights to do any kind of adjusting or anything. So all the settings you can change on the back of the lights, you can also do from the app. But of course, the benefit of the app is also to be able to save your scenes and have those program settings already programmed right into the app. You can jump to them very quickly. So those are my thoughts on the GVM Light Kit. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and if you're interested in purchasing this product, like I said, I'll have links down below in the description to make that really easy for you to find. If you want to check out some of my other videos, I have 2 other clips over here you can check out. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on my face, and don't forget to ring that bell to be notified of all my new reviews as they drop on my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video review.